A warm welcome to Jean-Christophe Laloux. With over 2 decades of experience at the European Investment Bank, EIB, including his current role as Director General and Head of Lending and Advisory in the EU, Jean-Christophe has unparalleled expertise in finance leadership and sustainable development. During his tenure, the EIB has delivered over €400 billion in new lending and a number of major initiatives, including the European Fund for Strategic Investments, the Economic Resilience Initiative, and the Pan-European Guarantee Fund. He led the frontline team of the bank through a transformative journey, risk-taking in individual operations and a larger share of new and smaller counterparts. He has promoted and scaled up the EIB's operations in the fields of venture debt and thematic finance. Mr. Laloux is also a strong proponent of sustainability and combating climate change, guiding the EIB's transformational journey towards becoming the EU Climate Bank. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all. First of all, don't believe that artificial intelligence is that smart, because I actually recognize some of the sentences spoken as having written them myself for my own bio. So they don't produce everything by themselves, right? At times they also copy things. Thank you to Plum and to Aniela for having me today. It's a wonderful event. I'm going to share with you a little bit our experience in financing deep tech in Europe. Now, what is our experience, you will say, right? European Investment Bank, wait a minute, you are the bank of the 27 member states, you finance bridges and roads, right? That's what you do. Well, actually, not entirely. We also manage a portfolio of 25 billion euros of venture capital investments through our subsidiary, the European Investment Fund. And as introduced in my bio, we also have invested over the past 6 or 7 years, 5 billion euros in venture debt to support the tech sector in Europe through direct investments and direct companies. Hopefully some of you in the room have been supported by us in your development. So basically I could have summarized it with, we have a problem. Hopefully we also have solutions, but we have a problem in deep tech. This is a slide I like very much. First of all, because it gives you a free eye test. If you cannot read the small character, please talk to your eye doctor. I can't, actually. So this slide, which is actually a graph on the right side by McKinsey, positions Europe in terms of competitiveness towards the second best or the best in class on the various tech sectors. There are the different lines. Now, the small print, I will not read it all to you, but basically on top you have digital. Then around the middle you have connectivity, so 5G telecom. And the bigger the ball, the more competitive Europe is. There are lots of small balls on there. Right? We have lost, as we know, a bit of our competitive edge position on these two important pieces of technologies. Where we seem to be better at is at the bottom of the graph. The bottom of the graph is advanced materials and is clean tech. Clean tech in particular, which is solar, PV, and all non-polluting technologies. So we have lost a bit of a competitive edge compared to the others, but we have kept a number of pockets. And what is there interesting to see on this graph, you see on the left side, the blue curve positions Europe and the black curve positions the United States in terms of digital patents. What you see there indeed is that our American cousins from across the Atlantic are much better at us at filing patents. Europe trails behind. The dotted line is the share and the straight line is the count of patents. But interestingly, when you look at clean tech, so on the intersection between climate and digital, we are better than the States, because then the curve invert. The blue curve goes on top of the black curve. So we have something to defend, and we have something to continue to exploit. The sad news is indeed is that the trend goes down over the past 2 years, and we must absolutely invest more. So we have lost competitiveness overall in the tech sector, but we keep a very strong position in the clean tech sector. What is the other fact to know about financing deep tech in Europe at the moment? Yeah, yet again another slide where the print is small. but where I invite you to actually look into the color scheme on the graph on the right. In blue, you have early stage finance in amounts over the past years. So it's seed and very early stage. In green, you have Series A and B, and in red, you have C and after. This is a picture of the European landscape for investment in early stage tech sector over the past years. Now, except for the outlier there and the white bit there on top of the grass is Northvolt, by the way, which was a complete unidentified flying object in our landscape of early stage financing. But what you can see on that graph is that there is something abnormal in the share of the different colors. Blue and green are too big compared to red. What does it mean? We are actually quite good at financing seed, early stage, Series A and B in Europe, but we're not good at all at financing growth stage. The red color and the total surface of the red color should be much more important in comparison to the other colors, to the green and to the blue. And this is actually where our problem lies in Europe. And we have plenty of anecdotal evidence of that. We are super good at brain development, not so much keeping the brain that we develop sometimes in universities. We're fairly good at launching new innovative companies, and when then they really grow and when they need 200, 300 million tickets, who are the investors there? Generally the Americans, and potentially also now others who shop around in Europe. So we need to do something about it. And if you're not convinced, look at the graph below, which is the absolute volumes of growth state finance for European companies. And you see there, of course, that United States are much more present than Europe. So what are the impediments for us to finance? Well, this is a graph, the bar graph there is a study by the Boston Consulting Group on what are the main impediments in financing growth stage. Well, there are not enough qualified investors who are willing to put big tickets out there. This is the number one. Number one bottleneck actually in the deep tech sector at the moment, and this is particularly the case for quantum computing, which is at the moment the next stage for us and the next frontier. So I only have 3 more minutes to talk to you a little bit about what solutions we bring on the supply side. Before I do that, let me indeed remind you that a market is supply and demand. If we want to do something about financing deep tech and boosting the deep tech in Europe, we will have to work both on the demand side and on the supply side. On the demand side, there are many different things to be done. We need to get better at clustering, at really getting scale on a number of clusters in Europe. We need to get better at also changing ourselves and reprocessing ourselves in terms of accepting failure, of promoting entrepreneurship. We're still behind on these things. But today I will focus on the supply side, meaning the investment side. What are we in the European Investment Bank group trying to do to bring more money to the table and hopefully catalyze more money from others? Well, I will read the graph from left to right. First, and Liliana talked about it, we're going to pump more money into the fund of funds because it is important also to make the ecosystem thrive, that we're able to also promote the rise of more 1 billion plus funds in Europe. A few years ago, we looked, United States had more than 40 tech funds at a scale of 1 billion euro or more under investment. We had 1. So that's our ambition. We want to help the fund industry in Europe grow, and we want the funds in Europe to be able to put larger tickets and to reach a 1 billion size. This is through the so-called European Tech Champion Initiative. The second thing we're going to do, we're going to continue to increase our direct lending in quasi-equity in individual companies, tech companies in Europe. And we do that through, typically inside the European Investment Bank, through a non-dilutive approach, through venture debt. And for those of you interested, I'm here with a number of colleagues. Please come and talk to us if you are in fundraising mode and you need access to this type of non-dilutive finance, we can help and provide. We invest at the moment around 600 to 700 million euros per year through that approach. We're not direct shareholders, but we provide quasi-equity type finance. And on the right side, and for those of you who do not know this initiative, please go and have a look on their website. It's a super exciting new initiative promoted by the European Commission, which is called the European Innovation Council. You can get either a grant or an investment. And recently, the European Commission and the Commissioner von der Leyen announced that we're going to boost this initiative together with the colleagues from the European Commission, and we're going to put more money into it, also to be able to perform follow-on investments and raise the ticket size. So these are some of the things on which we, from the European side, are trying to help. I think it's all important as well that we attend events like this, that we promote Europe as a bright and innovative and thrilling ecosystem for innovation. And thank you very much for having listened to me. Thank you.